now depend on someone 3 ladders below buying it for me to now earn income. What kind of trade is that? That's a trade that is unknown to mankind. And that is proof, clear proof, that it is not something that is actually selling the product itself. What it's selling is the network that you are building. And Islam says when you don't have a substance that you are selling, the real good itself that you are selling, then whatever sale you have from that is haram. So this multi-level marketing, please don't, this is not a question of whether some brother say it is correct or not correct. Just take yourself away from it, distance yourself away from it, and not a participant, and look at it and say, why should the work of someone 4 cadres down the line be what will now be income to me? Doesn't make sense. And if it is okay to sell like that, why are we not selling cars like that? Why are we not selling phones like that? Why is it goods that are of dubious value that are always sold like that? So that one is clear. Another part of it, which has to do with marketing, is auction. Is auction permissible in Islam? Yes, it is. Auction is permissible in Islam. The Prophet himself has auctioned. So don't let's go into that one. What about promotional gifts, promotional sales? Someone says, if you buy 2 bottles of, you remember when 7-Up will not sell 1 bottle except they do a promotion. I mean, in the late 80s, early 90s, they couldn't sell 1 bottle unless there was a promotion. 10 cars to be won. Jetta was the favorite car at the time. So everybody is drinking 7-Up just to see whether you'll be able to win a cookie car bomb. They will give you a Jetta. Now, those promotional sales, are they permissible? The answer is yes and no. Yes, the company can do promotional sales. But it is not permissible for you, the consumer, to buy the goods because of the promotion. It's not permissible for you to buy the goods because of the promotion. It's permissible for you to buy the goods because it is useful to you. So if the company says, buy 1, get 1 free, you are buying the 1 because you need to use the 1, not because you want to get another free. But once you've not bought the 1 because you want to use it, the 1 they give you free, okay, take it now. Or they say that, okay, there's going to be a raffle. Okay? Ordinarily, you will take 5 bottles of Coke. Coke now says maybe 5 bottles of Coke in a month. That's your standard. Coke now says, I'm going to do a raffle. At the end, everybody that has a crown that says Coke is it, for instance, keep the crown. And then text the number that the crown to us. We'll do a raffle and then give the prize to one of you there. Once you buy bottle number 6 in that month, then it is because of that raffle that you're buying it. Unless your appetite has increased. If your appetite has increased and you're buying bottle number 6, it's because of that raffle that you're buying it. So one has to be very careful about those ones. So what ethics, because I've been given time up several times, so let me just, what ethics should we apply when we're talking about business? Number 1, seek that which is halal. You know, aren't we afraid that a day is going to come when parts of our body, not our brain, no, Allah did not say on the day of judgment the brain will do any function. So you can't think, you can't do anything otherwise. But the parts of the body will be the ones accounting on your behalf. So when the Prophet said, any part of the body that is not something that is haram will be burnt in hellfire, you can't stop it. Oh. You can't stop it. Aren't you afraid of that day? Aren't you scared? So we should always seek halal. That's number 1. Number 2, take advantage of the early money. You know, the best place to know how Muslims behave in the money, the best place to know is at Muna. If you go for Hajj, is at Mina, the camp. After Subi, people will sit down, eat, and then go back and sleep. And that is so un-Islamic. The Prophet said, may Allah bless what my ummah does with their monies. So one of the companions, his name is Sahar. Sahar had that hadith from the Prophet. So once he says salam alaikum like this in the mosque, he's carrying his goods and going to the market to go and sell. And he became very rich. So they now asked him, what's your secret? So he now narrated this hadith. And Abdullah ibn Umar also said, it's true, the Prophet said it. Can I give you money to trade for me as well, so that you can be giving me part of the profit? But if you are living in Lagos, that money is the one that will waste the most in traffic. You are still in traffic for 2 hours to get to work, and the blessing of that money is off. By that time, by the time you get to work, you are now cranky and everything. So take advantage of the early money. Number 3, be moderate in your quest for wealth. You know, whoever is the richest man in the world can only be at different times of time. Time will go and then you will not be as rich again. In fact, it's amazing that according to Forbes, the richest man ever in this world was Mansa Musa. If you ask people who Mansa Musa was, maybe not many people can even remember him. They said his wealth was up to $400 billion. But Mali now cannot even boast of $4 billion in it. So wealth is transient. So there's no need to want too much of it. Number 4, be lenient in buying and selling. You know, every time they want to pray, the companions want to pray, the Prophet will always say to them, yield your shoulder to your brother. And you know, that's what you do. You know, when you're praying normally, this is the way you are supposed to put your hand. If you are praying alone. But when you are praying in congregation, because there will be other people near you, you put the hands close to you. That's what it means by yielding your shoulder to your brother. That thing is in all the things that you do. Yield your shoulder to your brother. You're going to sell to your brother. Then just make sure that you are lenient in both buying and selling. Number 4, be fruitful and avoid lying. That's number 5 actually. Number 6, give charity frequently. You know, the Prophet said, this business thing is filled with lots of alarm. True or false? Very true. He said, purify it, make it pure by giving sadaqah a lot. So, that we should do frequently, give charity. Then always record your business transactions. This is one of the things that I've been asked to talk about. Always record it. Now, I'm aware that some of the scholars say that the longest verse in the Quran, which is one that says when you have a loan transaction, you should detail it. Surah Al-Baqarah verse 282. That verse has been abrogated in obedience by Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 1, where Allah says, "O you who believe, fulfill your trusts." That verse itself commands you to fulfill your trust, so there is no need for you to write it down again. But when I accept that some of the Mufassirs say that, others say no, you should still write it down. And it looks like those who say you should still write down are correct. 2 reasons. 1, the Prophet said, 3 people, their dua will never be accepted, even when they make it very earnestly. Said the first is a man who is married to a loose woman, and he refuses, a woman of bad behavior, and refuses to divorce her. So you are making dua to Allah, and Allah will not accept your dua. So he said the second person is the one who lends money to another person, refuses to write it down, and is now asking Allah to strengthen him to be able to collect the debt back from the debtor. Says Allah will never accept that prayer. I've forgotten the third one, but those are the 2. I remember those 2 very well. So this is one hadith that shows that we should write down, particularly when it is low, but not limited to lows. One of the companions, after the death of the Prophet, brought out a book. He said, it is the tradition of our Prophet that when he sells, he writes it down. So he brought out a sheet of paper saying, Adat, I bought a slave woman, free of blemish, not of ill health, and strong from the Prophet for this consideration. This was a concluded transaction. It's not a transaction that's going to happen in the future. And he wrote it down. So he brought out out that paper to show that yes, during the time of the prophet they used to do that. So we should always have records and witnesses. Well, I'm an accountant, so we try the records. So if you don't record those transactions, how are we going to get the records to get your books done? Then be straightforward and avoid doubtful matters. Once you think that something, one man came to the prophet Samson, and immediately said that the prophet said, I know why you're here. And the man looked at the prophet and said, we know you to be, he didn't say that, but I'm sure he's thinking, we know you to be a prophet, not a fortune teller. How can you know why I'm here? He said, you have come to ask me about goodness. So he said, that which is good is that which your heart is selling with. Your heart is addressed with it. And that which is bad is the one that your heart would always trouble you about. And the man said, I did not come here except to ask you about that. So, in the same manner, when we say avoid doubtful matters, it's not just a matter of asking for fatwa. Now, you too, you will know. Your heart will be telling you that this thing that I want to do. Remember Allah often at the marketplace. That's what the Prophet said, the marketplace is a place of the shayateen. But when you remember Allah, you get a million rewards for just one thing. Because what's likely is that when you're in the market, what are you likely to do? Selling now, haggling, and looking at how you can get bargain from other people. So it says when you do that, there's a particular thing that you're supposed to do when you're in the marketplace. So if you do that, it says 1 million good deeds will be recorded for you. 1 million. Then avoid deception. Be easy on straightened debtors. The hadith is in Sahih Bukhari, and it's one of the hadith that are called the hadith of hope. The man was about to die, and then he was agonizing that I haven't done any good thing for anybody. And the children were trying to say, "What you did now?" He said, "No, there's nothing that I've done. No good deed at all, except that when people owe me money, and they can't pay, I just give it for them." So the man died, and Allah raised him up immediately. There are some people who will have instant judgment. So he raised him up immediately and said, "Why were you doing that?" So he said, "It's the only thing I can do to people. Just if they owe me money, they can't pay, so I did them." He said, "We are more entitled to do that to people. And so because of that, you are forgiving your sins." So acquire the Islamic knowledge before entering into transaction. It was reported that Umar started the scheme of what is called the Muqtasim. These are people who go to the market, and they were not holding cane there, but they hold cane now. But they were not holding cane there. They go around to see that market practices are ethical. That's their job, to see that market practices are ethical. And Umar used to say something. He says, "No man should come to this market of ours except he knows the ruling of the Sharia. No man should come to this market of ours unless he knows the ruling of the Sharia." So you have to seek the knowledge of what you want to do first before you start doing it. So when you seek that knowledge and then you now know, then you can now go to the market and start applying that knowledge. And by market, I just don't mean Sandros or Podo market. I mean wherever our businesses are. So we need to know what Islam says about the practices so that we don't go into that which is erroneous. It was said also that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said 2 types of knowledge are important for every Muslim male. One is the knowledge of business, tijara. Second one is the knowledge of inheritance and tijara. And I think both are the ones that we don't even know anything about these days. May Allah help us. I'll stop there. Maybe questions to bring about a couple of other things that I'm not able to say. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Let's say Jazakallahu khairan. One more time. May Allah accept that as ibadat. And I think for sure LBS's loss is our own game. I think they lost something there because, yes, I've been to courses at LBS. This is certainly worthy of an LBS platform. For those who came late, they actually turned down the opportunity of having this. While we are getting ready, I would ask the brothers to be getting ready for the next presentation. I'll just make a couple of comments. Number one, the lecture emphasizes why we need to have brothers and sisters, Muslims in different spheres of life, right? Somebody who is an Afar and Afar only certainly would not know about options, futures, and swaps. I remember during a talk that I gave in Ramadan, and I was talking about different cities of the world on the first day of Ramadan. I mean, those of you who are familiar with London, if Ramadan falls in winter, you can be fasting for 16 hours of the day. Now you are talking about Russia, you are talking about 21 hours of the day in some of these European countries. And they are in summer, and there was an Afar present, and he felt so strongly that he asked for the microphone, and he said, Wallahi, and he was so convinced, yeah, because he has never left Nigeria and he has never left Ibadan. And he was so sure, he said, I know at the time of Rasulullah, that things like that did not happen. They did. Europe was Europe, Africa was Africa, winter is winter, summer is summer, right? But it was beyond him to comprehend that some people, so we said, there was even no basis for me to make any correction. I just accepted it as such. Let me say before we introduce, in fairness to my brother, he is Sanuth, because typically this topic would generate a lot of questions. I'm sure if I should start identifying people and saying what is future, you wouldn't know what future is. Alhaji, you won't know what option is. She will know about that, right? And then when you say swap, anyway, maybe the examiner has taught us what swap is. These are the sort of questions I'm sure we would have needed clarifications on. We were to have him and then have question and answer, but the next topic was the brothers were introduced by one of our trustees, and we were willing to let them have the platform for the day as the only topic, but we couldn't accommodate them until 2016, looking at our timetable. But our elder thought we should accommodate them sooner rather than later, so we thought, okay, it's related to this, we would offer them 20 minutes. So I'm going to invite our brother Taslim Omotara. Is that the pronunciation? Yes. Omotara. He's a relationship manager with Stanbic IBTC, and he's come to do, we've agreed we can only offer 20 minutes for this one, the presentation of Stanbic IBTC non-interest banking. So let's take this, and hopefully we'll still be able to take some questions. Time now is 12:54, let's call it 12:55. So by 1:15, we'll be stopping you, inshallah. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum. Firstly, we would like to appreciate the organization for giving us the opportunity to be here today to make our presentation on Islamic guidance. And also, I also want to appreciate our guest lecturer, because I have gained a lot personally from the lecture. And some of the lectures we want to talk about also is part of what I'm going to talk about here, and I'll be very brief because of time consideration. The question some of us asked earlier that what is non-interest banking? You can simply describe non-interest banking as banking in line with Islamic commercial law, where interest and riba is prohibited. Our guest lecturer laid emphasis on riba, that in Islam, riba is totally prohibited. And when we look at some of the banks that we have in Nigeria today, only few banks have the opportunity of having Islamic banking with the Islamic identity is among the banks. And now that we know that riba is prohibited in Islam, we have a product that caters for this. We have our Islamic banking, as I said, simply means as described as ethical banking, whereby dealing in alcohol, tobacco, and gambling are not permitted. The guest lecturers that rightly spoke about that. As I was saying before, we need to, as a Muslim, trading is permissible. So when we want to trade, definitely we know that the proceeds from our trading, we need to bank it in a bank. And what will now be the basis of our decision in terms of which bank will I take my money to? As a Muslim, we need to ensure that any bank where I will put my money, riba is not there. I will not be giving interest because interest is not permissible in Islam. About 3 years ago, former CBN governor, Sanuth introduced Islamic bank into Nigeria. We as a Muslim, we see this as an opportunity for us to also propagate our religion. Also part of what the guest speaker said is that nowadays jihad is not being fought in by shooting gun and doing all sorts of human things. The way we can spread our religion nowadays is through business. How? When we have a kind of system whereby it accommodates everybody, whereby it also is in line with our belief, that is, there is no riba. And also our traders, our mothers, our sisters, and our fathers, when they go to the market, they sell. Rather than keeping this money at home or putting it in an unsafe place, they can come to Islamic IBTC, approach any of our, go to any of our branches and request for opening of Islamic IBTC non-interest banking. It's very simple to open. And we have two types of non-interest banking account. We have what we call Iman current account and also Iman transact plus. The difference between the two, one is like a savings account, while the other one is a current account. We have a conventional current account, where we can issue checks. In Islamic banking too, our own current account is called Iman current account. The requirement for opening a personal account for the conventional is equally the same thing. What we need to do is just to walk into Islamic IBTC Bank with our means of identification, 2 passport photograph, and if it's a current account, we will be required to provide 2 references before we will be given our fill it. Before the account is up and running. And our savings account, as we know, Islam does not permit riba. We don't give interest on our savings account because all the products that we have, Islamic IBTC, we have what we call advisory committee of experts. All the products that we roll out under non-interest banking, we have Muslim scholars, elder Muslim scholars, that they look into it. They check, they verify that all these products are in line with Islamic, Islamic. That is, they are in line with what Islam is teaching us. So any product that we are going to roll out, committee which comprises of experts in Islam, they look at it, they verify it, and they confirm before we roll it out to the members of the public. And also, I also draw a point from what our guest speaker said. When he talked about the Hajj and the amount involved, it's very huge. The population of Muslims in Nigeria is very huge. And how do we translate this into business? As a Muslim, we know that we need to patronize the business of one another. Because if anybody brings out a business today and is not being patronized, that person can have the kind of you will be thinking that what I'm doing, is it not okay? So part of the way we can spread Islam is by anything that is Islamic. As a Muslim, we also need to partake in it. Because if we look at other religions, part of why they have a lot of followers is majorly because of the benefit they are getting from it. And nowadays, we are having that kind of benefit too, for Muslim brothers and sisters to enjoy. But the awareness is still very low. Islamic IBTC non-interest banking, if we look at, for example now, if we look at the customer, the number of customers that we have in the southwest, we can't compare it to the number of customers we have in the northern part of the country. Why? Can we not say over there they are more religious than us? I don't think so, and I believe that they are not. But what we only need to do here is we also need to show our presence by making sure that for government, for CBN to roll out non-interest banking in the Nigerian economy, they want the people to have opportunity of banking in a way that their religion will be supported. It will not go against their faith. That is the bottom line of introducing non-interest banking. Before the introduction of non-interest banking, in the north, what is applicable is that customer will come, they will say, I don't want interest, please, my account, I want to open a savings account, please don't put interest there. They will tell us that they don't want interest. This is one of the reasons that government introduces non-interest banking, so that we will bank without interest. And that this, if we continue doing this, it will also help us as Muslims too. Because by the time we have a lot of customers that subscribe to these products, we will also be in a position to support our Muslim brothers with like facility products that will enhance their business too. Because we know that generally business, customers look up to banks for finance. Some customers might be looking for money, maybe what they are doing, the present level they are operating, they need more money in order to at least establish very well. Under non-interest banking, we have facility too. We are giving loan to customers, provided that the customer meets all the criteria. But right now we only have 3 products. And our expectation is that by the time we have more customers, more Muslim brothers, and one good thing about this, our non-interest banking, is that we have a lot of non-Muslims that are opening their accounts. Personally, I have a lot of customers that they are not Muslim. I ask them, why are you opening these accounts? Because they look at their account. When I have a current account, I can issue check, and on my account, there will be no COT. That means at the end of the month, I'm not incurring costs in saving money with the bank. My money is not reducing, and my money will not increase. It's what is there that I have access to. At the end, I think that is also in line with Islamic commercial law, which I want everybody to, if we can tell our friends, our brothers, that as a Muslim, we need to ensure that non-interest Islamic IBTC account, we all open it, so that it will also encourage all Muslims over everywhere that we go. Apart from this is an account that there is no riba, there is no interest. It's what I put there that I can get. And also this account is what customers, the benefit that customers enjoy in conventional accounts. Benefit like having ATM card, internet banking, and use of POS. Everything is equally available in Islamic bank account too. So when we open an Islamic bank account in Islamic IBTC, we will still be doing what we are doing presently. We can see that we are privileged. That as a Muslim, I have a product that is Islamic, that is in line with my faith. I believe that we should see it as something that we all must embrace and use the opportunity to open the account, and also encourage our friends, business associates to also open the account. Before I finally round up, I need to also talk about, I've talked about the access to bank finance. In Stanbic IBTC, presently we have finance options. We don't just take money from customers. Customers can also work to us if they have a business that the bank can support. Presently we have what we call FPO and contract finance, and distributorship and inventory finance. Distributorship and inventory finance simply means that for traders that maybe we buy goods from a company like Coca-Cola, Dangote, we can approach Stanbic IBTC under non-interest banking for support. We will look at the customer's records and we'll also advise the customer how we can assist in the partnering with the customer so that the business can grow bigger. And under LPO finance, some of us that are contractors, we have some companies that if any of us get contracts from them and is unable to raise funds to finance it, at Stanbic IBTC, we will be glad to welcome the customer and also provide the financial options. I will also explain to the customer what the customer needs to do. Thank you.
My question, one has to do with brokerage and riba, especially brokerage at NSE level, stock exchange. There are a lot of underplays, and probably having been a student of stock brokerage, I had privilege of some of these underplays, and it gave me some confusion as to which way vis-a-vis riba implications. Two, credit card facilities by some financial organizations. One wouldn't know whether they charge interest or charge administrative fees. How does a Muslim go by this? These are what my brother Mutara of Stanbic IBTC also presented. Even in their email account, even when you didn't request for ATM card, they debit your account and charge you. That is true. Three, and this is final, Takaful and group insurance policy. It seems we are still having issues with some of our insurance companies coming out with group insurance policies that is compliant with Takaful. I don't know what advice you have for us in this regard. Assalamu alaikum.
My name is Halim Adebawazi. My question is, what is the position of